This video is brought to you by ProBoxingSupplies.com, where you can get 25% off now, and PowerPerformanceProducts.com, where you can get $10 off your purchase of Body Storm and Body Effects.
Talk about the return. Yeah, this is it's been a slow process. My back is it's definitely gone through its fair share of surgeries and damage and stuff. So I think we're good to go, and I think I can get back as close to 100% as I'll ever be. It's a continual process. Seeing my surgeon there in Denver, I see him again this coming up this week and stuff, and I think everything's good and still good to go. And I was hoping for an early fall return. It might be a little later in the fall now or early winter.
What's it been like in the process? I mean, has it been a positive, heads up the whole way? Are there any moments where you're like, man, is this ever going to work right anymore?
Oh no, there's definitely been some some moments and where I felt I had setbacks. There was times, especially when my nerves were regenerating in my left leg. In my spinal cord, they're regenerating in the area that they've been compressed for so long. And the times when they were regenerating, or the times that I was having difficulty with it, I questioned some things and stuff. But my surgeon, he's one of the top surgeons in what I consider the world. He's the real Doogie Howser. So, but he said it's part of the process, and we just take it step by step. And I continue to see him, and he reassured my wife and I that everything would be okay later in life, which is obviously the most important thing to me is my family. So to be able to make sure that I can walk my daughter down the aisle, that's way more important than fighting will ever be. So, but he's reassured us that everything will be okay, and that I'll live a normal life when I get older. So I'm going to continue to fight and do the things that I love.
Have you started training at all, doing any work at this point?
Yeah, I've been working with Trevor, doing. I've sparred. The only person I've actually sparred with is Trevor. My coach, and what is he? He's a soaking 140 pounds or so, but he moves like lightning. So he's a hard target to hit, and it's just been restricted down to him, just for the case of me getting back to full health and stuff, and working with a little bit of jiu-jitsu and stuff, but most everything's been done with Trevor.
Mentally, how has this been, Shane? It's been over a year since you fought. So mentally, are you just anxious to get back in there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm anxious just to have my body be at 100% and to be able to compete at the level that I competed at before. It's I've been competing my whole life since I was 6, and to not be able to compete or to feel that the types of things that you go through, it can send you into a bit of a little bit of depression and stuff when it's something that you've been used to your whole life. So to be able to get back in there and compete again, it's exciting for me. It's exciting for my family, I know, and I'm getting to the age now though to where it's probably getting time to maybe move on here in a couple years, and so. But my goal then still won't stop with competing. I hope to help out with the Boys and Girls Club and give back to what those coaches gave me when I was 6 and 7.
What's your take on the division since you've been gone? Because so much has happened.
Yeah, there's everybody's there. That's what's happened to the division. There is no more pride. There is no more Strike Force. There is no other divisions. It's the UFC, and that's it. And it's what the fans have always wanted, and it's what you guys have always wanted. And it's I think probably the only weight that's like that now. So that's my take on the division. Is everybody in the world is in the UFC now.
Anybody would like to fight coming back?
I've been asked that question, and I think the major thing for me right now is just to get healthy. I just want to be healthy and get back in the octagon and be able to fight at 100% again.
Shane, how are you in dialogue? Are your coaches in dialogue with your surgeons to help you try and get back to that fighting shape?
Oh yeah, I think my coaches. I'm in dialogue with my surgeon. Not per se that I don't think he's got time to make telephone calls to. I'm sitting in the office, and he's getting calls about Peyton Manning and things. So I'm sure he's not concerned about calling Trevor Whitman. So, you know, I take care of that, you know, with my coaches and talking to the surgeon and stuff.
Will you need to change the style of training now with your injury coming back?
No, I don't think so. I think you know, once I get back and you know the body's at 100%, you know, if I have to change my style up, then it's probably time to retire.
Do you think you're going to have any trouble getting past the mental break of knowing that you're 100% or trying to push to make sure that there's nothing there, nothing wrong?
You know, no, I don't think there won't be anything like that. I know some of you guys have been around. I know Ron's been around and seen me in my camps when I've had troubles with my back before. I know Connor's been there and stuff and seen me miss, you know, the weeks in my camps because my back has given me fits, and it's given me fits, you know, all the way back to the Frank Mir fight.
In terms of your approach to training, is you going to do anything different though? I mean, like maybe more emphasis even on cardio, how important it is? You know.
Oh, cardio is always important, and you know I think that's one of the things that you know fighters and as we all evolve, more and more people it seems to like to join your team. I think the fight that I was in the best shape for was probably a fight that Trevor Whitman solely pretty much had by himself, and that was my first fight against Christian Wellish. I think it's probably one of the fights that I felt the best with. So. You know, and it seems like as you go on in this sport, people want to contact you and become more and more a part of your team, and they got the greatest and best this out there and that, and you know, it's I think it's just me going, you know, back with Trevor and the few coaches that I've had in the beginning, and you know, just stay loyal to those guys and Trevor's beliefs, and you know, I believe in him as a coach, and he believes in me, and that goes a long ways.
What'd you think of Junior Dos Santos' last performance against Mir?
You know, it's what I expected. Junior, and I've told you guys, you know, before, and I think Kane and both Frank got to see that, and some other guys as well, is Junior's a lot faster in the cage than he is watching him on TV. And, you know, those were the exact words that came out of my mouth after the fight, and that's what came out of Frank's mouth after the fight. Is he's a lot faster than what he appears to be.
Shane, you talked about, you know, as you're riding the wave up, people kind of coming into your camp
Oh,
and be a part of it. Did you see the opposite as well after, you know, a couple downs? Did you kind of feel a difference?
Yeah, you know, after the surgeries, it's basically been the same guys that you know that I started with. I've always had them there. There's been a few that have been added, but yeah, it's gone down to just a couple that have been there from the start, and that's the way I want it. I'm loyal to those that have been loyal to me, and you know, I've made it to where I'm at. You know, I would say solely based on a couple of coaches. You know, Christian Allen, a lot of you guys don't know about, but he's the one that I started with in the beginning of my career, and I still work with him. He's a great coach. He's an excellent fighter. I'd hope he'd make it to this level someday, but I think he enjoys just coaching. And, you know, Trevor Whitman. Trevor's brought me probably the farthest along than any coach has.
Shane, could you talk a little bit about how important for you to be here at the UFC Expo and how you're part of the UFC family?
Yeah, well, the expo is great. You know, it's I think the thing for me is that you know, I'm more or less just like everybody else that's out there. I'm, you know, an average person. I'm an engineer, and you know, a lot of my fans seem to be people with families, or you know, engineers always come up to me and thank me for representing them. I don't know if I give us engineers a different outlook to other people or what. I don't know. I'm still a nerd at heart.
You've been a volunteer coach at the Colorado University. Are you still doing this work?
No, I've been doing that for a couple years. I was there basically because Leister Bowling was there, who happens to be, he actually moved on too, and he's a wrestling coach at Grudge now. So he moved on from the University of Northern Colorado as well. But I was there for a couple years just helping a few wrestlers, but you know, not so much helping them, it was helping me as well. So it was, you know, it kind of worked back and forth for UNC and me.
Who do you think the UFC will set you up with? Do you think that they'll give you when you return, a middle of the pack heavyweight, or are you coming back and fighting someone in the top 5? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume, with their history and me, it'd be just another monster. It seems like that's what I fought. Since it started with Gonzaga when I fought him, he was top 10 when I fought him. So ever since then, it's been that trend. So, I hope that's the way it stays, and I see myself up there, and yeah, I just like to get out there and fight. That's my style. I'm not ever looking to eke out a decision like. My mindset, to give you guys an idea, when I go in there, it's like, my favorite movie is Gladiator. So, like, when I go in there, it's like, it's to the death, so to say. And that's why, honestly, you should never see a decision come out on my end, win or lose.
How was it sat with you? I mean, you were so close to having that with Lesnar. You came so close. Is that a sense of inspiration to you now to think that you can get in there and get the brass ring?
Oh, I feel like I can compete with any of those guys. And I might not technically be the best, but I guarantee I have more heart and determination than a lot of those guys, and I can take a beating. I swear my head is a little thicker than most people's. It's hard to knock me out, and I know that gets frustrating for other people when they hit you with their best shot and nothing happens, and they know that I have the ability to knock them out in one shot. I feel like I can knock anybody out in one shot. So I think that's where my excitement comes.
Can you talk about the support you're getting from not just the family, but from the fans and a lot of the media? But a lot of us call you the curveball or the knuckleball in divisions. Like, all this stuff is happening, but wait till Shane Carwin gets back.
Only Joe calls you.
Yeah, he calls me a knuckleball.
It's a knuckleball, yeah.
He always calls me once in a while with some crazy comment. Yeah, the fans have always been great. Like I said, the fans that follow me are I would say not so much your character list, the 18 to 35-year-old guy. It's families, it's people with young kids, it's engineers, it's the working force. A lot of those people love what I do, and the fact that I think that I'm still a humble guy. A lot of this is I still wonder, like Dominic Cruz said it best when we were in Toronto. We were in the van, and we were laughing about how people come up to us and think we're all this that great and stuff, and Dominic, and I still laugh about it. Like, I'll be out fishing and I'll laugh at his comment, and he's like, if you really knew me, I'm not really that cool. So and I think that's how some of us feel, and that's how I still feel. So I'm kind of a boring guy.
Could you talk a little bit about your activities at the expo and what's in your schedule for that?
Yeah, so this morning, 10 to 12, I signed for the UFC, and then from 12 to 1, I was supposed to have lunch. I stayed after to sign for the rest of the line, so I ate a half a sandwich and had some chips and came down here for you guys, down here for an hour, and then I have Harley Davidson from 2:30 to 4:30, and then I think 5 to 6 I close out with Rev Gear until this closes, and then tomorrow's a full day as well.
Do you feel that your conditioning got kind of a bad rap in that way? I mean, you were going full
A horrible rap. Yeah. I must be the most unconditioned fat ass around. That's how I felt after that, and honestly, it got to me. It got to me, and it not only got to me, it got to my coaches for that Dos Santos camp, to where it became an overemphasis. And the only one that was telling me that and felt that way was Leister Bowling, who's one of my coaches, also a good friend. And I was going to wrestling practice, and honestly, by the time I got to wrestling practice, I'd already had some other practices. I had nothing. I was completely shot, completely dead from all the conditioning and stuff. So I think it did affect the outcome in that fight. So yeah, it wasn't a fact that I wasn't conditioned for the Brock fight. It was just the sequence of events.
Realistically, what's it going to take for you to get back in the heavyweight mix?
I think a win. Obviously, it's for anybody to get back into the mix. It takes a couple wins. So whoever I fight, it's just going to take a win. You know, obviously, if I lose, that's 3 in a row, and that's not a good. That's not putting me in the back in the mix of anything except on the way out, maybe.
Shane, there's got to be a lot of winning outside the octagon before you start in there. And you're a little convincing here. You say you're kind of a bore or an average guy, you have a family, this and that. But going back into your distant past, was there a defining moment that you said personally, hey, this is the type of person I'm going to be. This is how I handle adversity, the injuries, the losses, things like that. Was there a defining moment in the past, or was it just?
Oh no, there was actually I would say a defining person. I know a lot of you. I grew up without a dad, so my mom raised us 3 boys on her own and struck the fear of God into us growing up. So made sure we all had college degrees. But Coach Wagner, who I still talk to, who still does my visualizations for me, was in college, and actually it was Western State was the only college that gave me a scholarship to compete in sports after, and actually the best I'd ever done was 5th at state in wrestling. But my brother had wrestled for Coach Wags, and so he knew the type of individuals that we could be, and he transformed me into being a killer competitor and believing in myself. That was probably the biggest defining moment, was him giving me the ability to believe in myself and giving me the mental edge and the attitude to go out and be a killer.
If you never get a shot at the title again, are you happy with how your career played out?
Oh, I have to be ecstatic. Just the other thing, I don't know if a lot of you know, I was in the '98 draft. I was projected to be in the 5th round. It's the same draft class as Peyton Manning, and those guys played in the Senior Bowl. Second strongest linebacker in the draft out of 36. Had a lot of goals. Would set up pretty much, at Western State. What I tell everybody is why I went on to engineering school is I majored in athletics there. I was great in wrestling and football, but that was when I had my first back injury. I bulged 3 disc, ruptured a disc, and I was used goods. I never even got a shot into a camp, and I went in and had surgery and stuff and fell into a depression, never got into the camp, never got the ability to, play a sport that I loved and I grew up doing. And when people ask me why I work today and do those things, it's for the safety of my family. They come first, and obviously this job security, but you're only one injury away. All these guys are, and I look at some of them, and some of them are like little brothers to me. But if somebody kicks them wrong someday in practice, blows out their knee, blows out their ACL, or does that, what do they have? So I'm just fortunate to be able to be in there and compete. That's what I'm happy about. So, I thank God every day that I'm able to walk and compete. It's a bonus that I get to fight for a championship, right?
Do you have a parameter of success in terms of how many fights you're going to give yourself to know if this comeback is going to last a long time? Or is it going to be based on a win or 2, or are you just going to let it play out?
Oh, that's based on my wife and I. We talk about this after every fight. It's ongoing, and it's what's best for the family. So, go ahead.
Do you think there was a retirement age?
Do I think? Well, it's when I feel like I can't compete anymore, and when I feel like if I feel like I need to be home, or I want to do something else. If my little girl's getting into soccer, or I feel like I want to coach my son or something. It's when those other opportunities come. If I feel like my time should be coaching those kids in the Boys and Girls Club now, which I feel like is getting soon. Then that's what I'll do, and hopefully I've set my family up good enough to where I can take care of them and do those types of things that I want to enjoy doing.
Was there any of that talk during this recovery process? Was anybody saying, maybe this
Oh.
is a sign?
Yeah, absolutely. When you go through that, that's part of the frustrations of it. That's those points when I go to start doing my first jumps or whatever, and my legs are shaking. That's the first types of, like, when my nerves are regenerating. When I talk to you guys about this stuff, that's I'll go to do just a simple jump or do some like type of training stuff, and my legs sit there and they shake. It's the nerves that are just constantly sitting there firing. And I think we're over that part now. I think that's done and in the past. But you know, those are the type of things where it's like, you know, maybe we move on. But you know, I think, you know, like I said, I thank God every day, and you know, I think He's blessed me with the recovery that I've had, and giving me another shot to go back in there and do something that I love to do.
Do you think anywhere in the future you would work in engineering, or you would like to concentrate on your own kids and try to
Oh, I'm still an engineer, so I still work for the water district. In fact, I'm designing 2.5 miles of 16-inch line right now out of a tank, and I'm actually dealing with some dairies on flow control and setting their meters up. You know, we're kind of in a drought in Colorado right now, so there's a lot of restrictions and water issues going on there. And you know, I had a blast doing that last week.
Shane, there was a lot of buzz when the UFC signed Alistair Overeem, and he came in and took out Lesnar. I think that got fans even more excited. Now he's suspended, he's on the shelf here for 9 months. What's your take on his situation?
He's exciting to have in the division. I know you guys are excited about it. I know the UFC is excited about him, and you know, hopefully, you know, we learn from, you know, what happened in the past, and you know, everybody moves on, forward with life, and you know, hopefully better decisions are made. And you know, I think he's exciting to have in division, and he's an exciting fighter, and you know, somebody hopefully I can compete against again someday.
This video has been brought to you by Boss Rutan's O2 Trainer. Get yours at o2trainer.com. And Power Performance Products, makers of Body Storm and Body Effects. Get $10 off at powerperformanceproducts.com.